last night the 49ers inducted Bryant Young into the 49ers Hall of Fame. He's 48 years old. You covered him. I never covered him. I watched him when I was a kid. What do you remember about Bryant Young, and do you have any story about him?
Yes, great player. And I do have a story about him. Again, this was when Mariucci was the coach. And again, access was different. I don't think you and I had access to Jim Harbaugh like this, and I don't think you have access to Shanahan like this. You know, if I wanted to talk to Steve Mariucci, I would tell one of the PR guys, I'd like to talk to Steve. And Steve would say, yeah, come on up. So I would go and sit in. Absolutely.
Never seen Kyle's office.
Oh, I used to spend so much time in that big office with Bill, George Seifert, and Mariucci. You know, of course, Lowell wants to talk to me, and we enjoy talking to each other. So anyway, one time I was with Mariucci, and I don't know how we got to this topic, but he was talking about how after every game they grade players. They grade them, and they had a grading system. And I could be wrong about this, but he had words for it. And one I thought was a golden helmet or a blue helmet. You may remember it was something helmet with a color. Okay. And he said the only, I'm going to say golden helmet we gave out this week was to Bryant Young.
Wow.
He said he's the best player on the team. Now, on that team was Steve Young and Jerry Rice.
And Terrell Owens. Three guys who are in the National Football Hall of Fame right now. And Bryant Young probably never will get in. And he's not as famous as them, but what people need to know is on that particular team in this organization, he was respected above everyone else.
He had the golden helmet.
Yep.
And Mariucci told me that based on their grading system, he was the best player on the team. Yes. And that's a true story. Yes. So that's my story about Bryant Young. And that's a hell of a story.
It's a hell of a story. He's the all-time sack leader for the 49ers. I think you could probably argue that he should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. But for whatever reason, he's just not, I don't know, famous enough. He doesn't have enough of a following nationally, but locally, internally, people know what he represented. And it's actually amazing that it took the Niners this long to put him in their team Hall of Fame. I mean, he's almost 50 years old. I had no idea. It was always a pleasure watching him when I was a kid. I remember the first time I remember watching the 49ers in 1994. He was on the team, and he was always great. So
I have one follow-up question to that, and then I think we're done. In the years that you covered the team, was there a player on the defense who was clearly the best player on the whole roster? I can think of some.
Two.
Buckner.
Three. Buckner. Patrick Willis.
I was going to say,
Smith.
Absolutely. Yeah. That when they would be the gold helmets.
Yeah. And
I don't know if it was gold helmets, but right.
Yes, and the impact that Justin Smith had was similar to the impact that Bryant Young had, although Bryant Young was probably even better. Yes. Yeah.
And Pat, tell me why you admire Patrick Willis.
The person who summed up Patrick Willis' greatness the best is Jim Harbaugh. He called him a five-tool linebacker. He called him the Willie Mays of linebackers. That the five things a linebacker can do well, he did them all the best. And if I remember correctly, it's run sideline to sideline, attack downhill, which is between the tackles, cover, blitz, and force turnovers. Those five things. He could do it all at the best. Patrick Willis, the Willie Mays of middle linebackers.